Welcome back to the MBH podcast, the most valuable podcast in the world. Today, we're all about value, okay? We got our guy, Zach Friedman, okay? This guy knows everything and everyone that has to do with crypto, the metaverse, and NFTs. So if you're looking to learn about one of those three things, you come to the right place, okay? Enjoy the show. Shout out Bodog. We love you. This episode is presented by Bodog. Let's go.
They know that I go flip mode when I bust the rhymes. Man's on a different thing, man, I told him 100 times. I did a bunch of crimes, and none of them were done for the vine. So you can take that bullshit and stick that where the sun don't shine. The summer's up, it's about to get real cold. Late nights in the studio with the bros.
Welcome back to the MBH podcast, Money Buys Happiness. Guys, before we get into it, you already know what the fuck you got to do, all right? Like, subscribe, comment, let us know what you think. Any questions, ask the fucking questions. And of course, let me know if you made it to the end. Say, yo, Anth. Apparently now it's yo, Ant. Nonetheless,
Ant.
I'm okay with either name. You let me know. But let me know if you made it to the end. DM me, comment, whatever you want. Find my number. WhatsApp me. I don't care. Love you guys.
And also the Twitch, please.
And subscribe, bro. Subscribe, follow, whatever. Follow some fucking Twitch. You know what?
Discord, Twitch,
bro.
please. Snapchat,
Oh my
TikTok,
God. You know how many fucking
Instagram.
hours we've been
There's some
spent?
gems in the Discord.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thank
this-
you. See?
Kids are streaming.
Come on.
This is a value-packed episode.
Yeah,
Coming
huge,
here live.
huge.
Zach Friedman.
Yes.
We ain't playing no games. All right. This is probably going to be one of our most valuable episodes when it comes to anything crypto, NFT, meta.
No, it is 100%.
It is 100%.
the most valuable episode. It hasn't even started yet, and I already know it's going to be.
Happy to have you, bro.
Yeah, appreciate you
to
coming.
be
Thanks
here,
for
out.
coming
boys.
out.
Yeah, pleasure.
Having a happy dad with the boys. Cheers, by the way.
Cheers,
Salud.
cheers.
To a great
Great
pod.
drink.
A little sip in there.
That's nice.
So, Zach, obviously, there's a lot of shit we got to cover, but I think the first thing would be just to go over your story a little bit, how you got into the space. I know we were talking a little bit off camera, like your whole startup situation. We'll start there to give people a little bit of a background on you, some context, and then we'll get into kind of like crypto in today's date.
All right, let's do it. Yeah, I think fortunately, genesis in the crypto space, which is, I guess, where I'll start from, really started in 2016. Was previously studying economics at Western University. I dropped out for a startup, and for the few years before that, I was always very involved in startups. Started my first business, social media marketing, at 16 years old. I was doing some event management, and really kind of dropped out to pursue an opportunity to grow a mobile app, and got really immersed into like growth mentality and framework, which was like a big part of Silicon Valley culture, like how to basically go from acquiring users, building network effect, building product, retention, acquisition. So really just like the full stack. So kind of that combination of thinking was really, the company was acquired back in 2015 or 2016. I had some free time on my hands, and that like mental framework around, starting to think more relevantly about economics in the real world, and then like networks. Crypto found me at the right time. I would say that I, was pretty like in an interesting period of my life, trying to figure out where I want to invest my time. Found the Bitcoin white paper, dove down the proverbial rabbit hole, and it just kind of clicked. I had pretty much like immediate conviction, and I think this is a transformative technology. I think this is a transformative financial instrument. And I learned at a young age that like the trends that I would jump on as an entrepreneur, it makes sense to swim, upstream and really work. Like it's better to work hard in an easy industry than work hard in a hard industry. And I saw like, everything evolving around me. So that's really, what got me excited and got me going. Another kind of like foundational belief I have is to get skin in the game. So first thing I started doing was trading. How can I actually like learn more about this industry? I didn't know where I wanted to go yet. Started to trade naturally. Some like, it was the Wild West. Like,
Yeah.
if any of you listening or you guys really remember crypto back then, everyone was still trying to figure out where to trade. What is this? How do I do it? How do I make money? There were stories about people making 100x, 50x on like projects, new tokens. So the trading just led me to identifying some of those opportunities. I built out an arbitrage trading fund, which was just like trading between different exchanges, earning yield, scaled up like a personal fund pretty substantially. And then I was actually looking at starting a hedge fund which I didn't know much about. But in talking to kind of like regulators and tax authorities at the time, especially in Canada, no one really understood anything. And they basically told me like, stop, you're going to get in trouble. So I didn't want to cross any red tape. And I decided to like stop pursuing a fund and liquidate it, which led me kind of organically into the brokerage model, which is the genesis of the next 6 years of my career in crypto. So I was presented with the problem of how do I liquidate, you know, $6 million, few $1 million of cryptocurrency. And, you know, I wasn't able to really find that traditionally. So looked to secondary markets, realized they weren't efficient, decided to build an OTC desk that started with really what I was telling you guys earlier. Me and my partner are like, all right, there's an opportunity here. People need this service. You're either buying Bitcoin in a back alley or like wiring money to Japan, Kraken, which was a Canadian exchange, and banking in Japan because no one would touch it in like North America.
Yeah.
So we went out to kind of build the infrastructure that was needed in order for people to access liquidity. And the thought process was really linear. If I can build liquidity in the space, then capital will come in. Capital brings talent. Talent leads to development. Development leads to innovation. And innovation leads to adoption. So I want to start at the beginning. That was the genesis of my first real business, Secure Digital Markets.
Damn.
Okay, so I want to go back quickly to the arbitrage trading between platforms because that was like a famous thing with Sam Bankman-Fried, right?
Yeah.
Can you explain that a little bit? Like that whole system of how that worked? You're basically trading it just from one exchange to the next, but it was a little bit had higher value on one exchange than another one. Like,
so because the industry was immature and new, there wasn't any centralized pricing feed. You know, if you want to find the price of a good service, stock, commodity, because there's efficient markets today, you can look towards different indexes or platforms to basically give you like a reference price or a benchmark price that everyone agrees on. Like I want to buy gold. If I Google what's the price of gold, it'll give me one price that's, you know, pretty much efficient across the entire market.
Yeah.
In crypto, it was really based on supply and demand. So it was when and how much you could access at any given time. And different exchanges had different pricing or different places where they drew pricing from, or because of the order book, which is, you know, if you wanted to sell one Bitcoin, you're willing to price it at 3K, you know, I would be willing to buy it at, you know, a different price, like that would change the price. So that was it. There was different exchanges. There was different, you know, liquidity on each one. I would basically trade between those exchanges, move over funds and, you know, earn a kind of a risk-free spread because I would buy and sell at the same time.
amazing. On one exchange to the next. So you're just making points on every trade just between the two.
And those arbitrage spreads became massive when you actually looked at different countries. So somewhere like Korea or even Nigeria, different countries like around the world had 10%, 15%. South Africa had 20% at peak. What SBF did, if I'm not mistaken, was he basically took a team of MIT grads and Jane Street traders, which is where he was working previously. He was able to like go to Korea, sit down, mobilize the team and figure out that banking solution. I remember seeing the opportunity, looking into it, but you know, at the time I was 21, 22. Like I didn't really have the capacity to figure out that problem, leave my life behind.
For sure.
Yeah. But it was there, it was prevalent, and it was,
So were those manual trades or automated?
It started manual. I built automation. Yeah, I had indicators. It would show me like when the price exceeded a certain threshold, then it would execute, and I had to like move around funds. But
you built that?
Yeah,
that was you.
Yeah. I actually had a guy I was living with. I'd just come to Toronto because I was at Western before, and I didn't have like a place set up. So I was living with him in his condo for a few months. Cool. He was like a developer, and he basically built the whole thing for me. Yeah.
That's amazing. I was gonna ask if you code.
No,
you don't code, right?
Pretty much deal with everything non-technical.
Non-technical
founder.
Judging from what you said about like you coming from even social media marketing and events, I would assume you were more like the face of the company and communications behind it. So So
then at that point, okay, you make some money there, and then you say you want to essentially build out your own brokerage. So what is that process? How do you even get started there? That seems like such a massive task. Like I'm like, holy fuck, like that's insane.
you know, in hindsight, I think I chose one of the hardest businesses to go into in the space.
Nice.
You know, in more technical terminology, like we work on the buy side and sell side, trading a new asset class with like no systems, no infrastructure. Everything was manual. We had to build it on our own. These are problems that banks have been solving for
years,
you know, hundreds of years, trying to automate and build infrastructure. We spoke to, you know, so many different service providers to try and get tech stacks or like infrastructure, and no one knew their head from their ass. Like they couldn't really give us anything. So I guess it did happen organically. Like we started by matching, like you wanted to sell 5 Bitcoin, you wanted to buy 5 Bitcoin, we'd pair you, you know, we'd take a spread in the middle, risk-free, negotiate like contracts, security, escrow, like KYC diligence, or just connect you to basically being the liquidity provider on both sides. So where we could think of like Expedia for liquidity, we would basically take 10, 15, 20 over time it evolved, different like exchanges, dark pools, clients on either side of the market, bring the liquidity into a central order book, and then trade like the best execution and pricing. So our sweet spot became people that wanted to trade high volume of digital assets, banks, ETFs, miners, high net worth individuals, hedge funds that were looking to like, I want to buy 5 mil, 10 mil, 20 mil. How do I get the best market price? Well, we'll manage the order for you. We'll get you like, we're connected, we're onboarded, we have the banking set up, we'll deal with clearing, settlement. And that took a couple years to build, but you know, it's led us to being really probably the leading in Canada and one of the leaders in the world.
So in terms of that, like let's say I come to you and go, hey bro, I want to buy 10 million worth of Bitcoin. How long for you at this point does it take to find a seller?
It's immediate. I'll give you, you asked me for a price if you're with
That's amazing.
A client to the firm, basically like calling up a bank or an FX desk. You want to travel, you want to buy USD and give you Canadian dollars.
It's just like that.
Zach, I want to buy $50 million of, you know, Ethereum and $10 million of Solana.
Yeah.
Here's a price, execute.
Just like that.
How are you getting it out at the beginning? Because like that's pretty much network based. If you're talking about these guys that are coming to you with big amounts and stuff like that, that's all in your network. So how did you build that?
Yeah.
How did you build that?
Listen, slowly but surely you build a few clients. I think fortunately, like we scaled word of mouth. I mean, especially in this market, I think I'm proud to say that since inception, 5+ years ago now, that zero downtime, zero lost funds, you know, never been hacked, never lost client money, never had exposure to any of the crypto stuff. Like we've always just maintained strong risk management policies and, you know, been able to get it done.
Yeah.
And when you provide someone a good service, and I'll get into how the business has evolved, it's kind of by proxy of that, like you're exposed to, you know, they want to refer you to their friends. They've had a good service. And what's interesting is like when people were trading crypto in the early days, again, our clientele were trading large volumes. Primarily, they were trading, let's say, 1 to 5% of their net worth. So if a client's trading $1 million with us, which was like probably an average client was, I think, like 700K was like the metric we had.
Yeah.
Like typically their net worth is like 80 mil plus.
Yeah.
So when they're satisfied with you with the service, now they're coming to you for other opportunities. They look at you as an expert. Like, where can I find deal flow? How else can I get involved in the space? What education do you have? So by starting with like a really specific service that we built out operationally, we ended up building relationships and really got thrust into the middle, myself included, into like this family office, like royal family, sovereign wealth. You know, I've, you know, in the last 5 years have done a lot of cool shit.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And it has to do with that. And then, you know, we built out services around that. So started to help clients raise capital. We started to, you know, help projects with advisory, you know, get exposed to Fortune 500 I've helped, you know, 7 or 8 Fortune 500 companies with like long-term engagements. We work with like, you know, big 4 consultants, outsource clients to us now on blockchain strategy, on coming to market, Web3 integration. So
it's extended. So essentially, like, obviously that you know, then that network opens up so many doors, especially you're talking about people, like you said, with $70-80 million net worth. There's a ton of business to do with them. But I'm curious. I want to go back quickly to, in terms of your business model. Yeah. Like if someone wants to, like I said, we'll go back to we'll use $10 million in Bitcoin as an example. Are you guys essentially buying it for them first and then, or sorry, like taking their money first and buying for them? Or are you just literally like making a connection and then using your, I guess, banking system just to make sure that it's a secure transaction?
We're basically executing on their behalf as kind of like an agent.
Okay. I see. Okay. I see what you're saying. Essentially like.
So we're basically just supporting them. They come in, they're asking us to execute a buy order. We're filling it on the other side.
And so, I mean, it's
and we have a platform now so clients can come on and actually see their own like institutional pricing.
And so that is just
APIs.
like, it's essentially like a security thing at the end of the day, right? They're using you / your platform because these are not
service pricing, navigation, like white glove, like, you know, we work with clients globally. We're regulated in, you know, Europe, North America, in different jurisdictions. We can like execute, transact trades. You know, we could support all FX currencies.
Yeah.
We can support all, you know, all of the kind of regulated cryptos that they might need.
And in terms of growing to this point, did you guys ever take investment? Was it solely from yourself, from like what you did prior, or how did that work?
Yeah, so fortunately, you know, we built the business almost all organically. The stuff I was talking about, the advisory, is under a different name. That's GDA Capital. Cool. The goal was to build kind of like, to simplify, we want to build like Goldman Sachs of digital assets back in the day. So like merchant bank 3.0, what would it look like to build like a merchant bank in the modern world that started with trading, but then started to expand into advisory, investments, asset management, which now we have a lot of that today.
Yeah.
Because of the regulatory environment, we kept it under 2 separate brands to keep it distinct.
For sure.
But now, presently, we're working on actually aggregating everything together under a new name, which I'm really excited about.
Okay.
Probably launching it in like 3 weeks. I think I could talk about it here, but basically branded the company Acronym, which is like a play of words on like Alphabet, Google's holding company.
Yeah.
Also, you know, DCG, FTX, a lot of acronyms in crypto.
Yep.
Basically roll in all of our assets, which is, you know, we have 5, 8-figure, 9-figure businesses under the umbrella. Capital wise, we took in, you know, the first time we raised capital was for the brokerage at a 9-figure valuation, which was cool. Wasn't a massive raise, but it was a few $1 million, and that's really all we've done to date across the entire thing. So it's been organic. Yeah, very organic.
I want to ask, when it comes to even, you said you help like fund projects or I guess, does it matter which project, or it has to be like blockchain associated?
We've done like 40 venture investments.
Sick.
Between like 50 to 250K,
Nice.
which is, I guess it's off our balance sheet. So it's, you know, kind of founder capital. We manage it a little bit like a family office style.
Yeah.
Those are strategic. They're not all crypto.
Okay.
Like we've invested into some funds, some fund to funds, some like, you know, deep tech, AI, like some cool projects. Back to that network thing, we've been presented a lot of cool opportunities. Like, hey, there's this space company, there's this biotech company, and it's like a client of the firm. So instead of all of us investing personally, we've, you know, collectively done it. Or if we're investing into crypto, typically those people are clients of ours. So we found that like the model when we first started on the advisory side was to, like, projects would come to us. We'd basically help them full service. Like, you're launching a token, we'd help you with your tokenomics, your white paper, marketing, distributions, listings, you know, corporate development. We've helped them, you know, we've helped our clients get like Premier League jersey sponsorships. We were talking about the BitMEX thing. We've helped our clients get NBA jersey partnerships. We've helped our clients get like, you know, massive event everything, or, you know, distribution networks to retail. We did a partnership, probably one of the largest crypto public-private partnerships was between MindGeek, which is the largest adult conglomerate in the world. They own, you know, Pornhub and everything. Integration with a digital asset called Tron, which gave them distribution to 90 million users. Like all over, where we'd come in, how can we support the project? You know, we take a retainer, but then we realized a lot of the work we're doing is, you know, making these projects really explode.
No shit.
So we're like, now we kind of and we built up capital in the firm. So now we're going to invest and help take it to the next level. There you go.
That's the skin in the game.
So it's funny you mentioned like even just the way that you kind of had the two separate businesses, essentially the brokerage and the advisory firm.
And the clients were the same. Like we helped tokens with their treasuries and with their trading. Like, if you were a token, you raised $20 million in an ICO or an NFT project, you raised $5 million. Now you're sitting on $5 million of Ethereum, right? If the price fluctuates 10% in a day, you lose 500 grand. How can you run a business like that?
Yeah.
You need to have, a partner, and treasury management's not your game if you're like a creator, an influencer, or like a game developer. So people rely on a partner like us. On the other side, on the brokerage side, we'll help you launch, but then we can help you, manage that, hedge, pay people you need to, diversify, etc.
We interrupt this podcast to bring you the most important message of your whole entire existence. Okay? The fucking team at Bodog is continuously firing off new shit every single week. But this week, I want to let you guys know about something that I've been appreciating a lot, actually. They got jackpots dropping every single hour guaranteed on all the casino games.
Damn.
You're on at 2 p.m., boom, jackpot dropped.
Every hour?
You're on at 3 p.m., boom, jackpot dropped. 4 p.m., 5 p.m., every damn hour, a new jackpot guaranteed. It's absolutely ridiculous what these guys are doing. They're literally changing the way online casinos do what they do, and they're applying the pressure.
Wow.
So, you know what comes from pressure? Diamonds. You know what comes from diamonds? Bodog Casino.
Wow.
Yep.
You know what comes
Yep.
from diamonds? Money. Okay.
Yep.
You know what Bodog wants to give you? Money.
Boom.
All right. They're offering a $400 welcome bonus to all our Canadians right now that sign up. All right. 50 free spins. And they're going to match up to 400. I got to say it again because they'll match up to 200. They'll match up to 300. They don't care.
Yep.
50 free spins. And when you're betting with Bodog, make sure you use crypto.
Yep.
Okay, because it makes it super easy. Super easy, super fast. Those are two things I like to be. Super easy, super fast.
Money in, money out. You blink, the money's in. You
Give me
blink,
the money.
the money's out.
That's
It's
it.
crazy. Bodog, we love you. Let's get back to this episode. Dude, were you ever scared, like from a regulatory perspective, like operating this business? Because it's just like as much as you would like to be by the book, there's not really a book.
Yeah, we've had to operate in the spirit of the law since day one.
The spirit of the law.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
Like what would this market look like? Like better safe than sorry. Yeah. So we've we communicate openly with the regulatory agencies. We've spent far too much on lawyers. Like I was building a deck actually for something with my company. I put all the law firms we work with. There's like 13 of them across the world. There's like
Crazy.
It's insane, but it's part of it, and it ends up building a lot of, I guess, like a moat, which is it would be very difficult for competition to come in and match what we do without $10+ million of investment into regulatory capital in a couple of years. So.
That's the beauty
it's like
of
a business
like
protector.
Yeah.
that's the beauty of like having 13 fucking law firms on your thing.
It's not fun. My life became at a certain point dealing with lawyers, and
which is like super expensive. But at the end of the day, you come out of it on top, like you're in a good position because, like you said, that's the moat that you have around your business, where it's like not many people. Even outside of the money, like it's the hours of fucking conversation, and sometimes you're leaving these conversations. Like we've had it too with lawyers. We're just like, what did we
you
even,
just
what
juice
did we
me for
even
6
really
hours?
talk
Yeah.
about? Like,
by working with 13, it's taken me talking to 30. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of
Exactly.
people that they don't know what they're doing. I've had to educate lawyers. I've had to educate regulators. We've been on the call with like the senior most professionals in a certain industry, and different agencies in Canada, and they've tried to tell us something. We're like, no, like that's not
Because it's so, they probably don't even know about
and then
it
they're
yet.
like, they'll be hesitant, but then like they'll come back and apologize. Like, actually, yeah, you're right.
you were right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think like is the goal for crypto? Because I heard Kevin O'Leary talking about this. He said the goal for it at the end of the day is to have it regulated, like and
Regulation
institutionalized.
is
like
necessary, right? I think if one thing Canada did well, us sitting here, I can say is that this whole recent FTX debacle, 3 hours capital, like crypto contagion, because Canada was a very aggressive regulator due to what happened previously with Quadriga. If you guys followed that, we had one of the largest exchanges go bust a few years ago through supposed fraud and lost funds. They cracked down. We saved, like, all these exchanges aren't in Canada. FTX wasn't in Canada. That saved one of the third, fourth largest retail market in the East to kind of in the West to be like protected here. We're lucky. So listen, regulatory guidelines gives you a framework to build. So
So again, you think that that's the future. There's got to be regulation.
And we're talking about it, right? There's bad actors like influencers. There's creators. There's people that came up in Web3. They've solicited investment. Half of them didn't know better. The other half didn't think they'd get in trouble because everyone else was doing it. When there's no rules, it's kind of hard to live and operate. So I'm pro regulation. It's it's not fun, but it's part of the journey.
It's how it grows to the next level.
I remember we got that Binance message. Remember?
Yeah, we're out of Ontario.
Yeah, we're out of
We were in
Ontario.
Mexico. We're like, oh my God, take out the money.
We had money.
Take
We're
out the
like,
money.
bro.
You probably have a lot of like you said, a lot of projects come your way, a lot of tokens, coins. What do you think the difference is between first of all, between a project you would take and not take? Because I'm sure you're picky at this point with what you take on, and one that succeeds and one that doesn't. What do you find the differences there?
So at this point, we probably see like 300 projects, like a quarter, like 100 projects a month approximately, that like we actually look at, review, or like well referred. I think it's just going back to foundational principles of like what makes a business successful, even in Web 2 and in the current world. There's been different cycles where if you just had like the right thematic project, like, oh, you're in play to earn and this is an emerging bubble, like let's work with 5 of you, 1 of you is bound to blow up because it didn't matter as much. But right now, like if there's one thing that a bear market does that I'm appreciative of, is it shakes out the kind of bad actors and like the hype beasts and the people that are just there to like make a quick buck.
Yeah.
And the people who stick around and are building are the ones with legitimate projects, teams, backgrounds. So it allows you to like, really lock down into like who's here for the right reasons. It's funny, like not to cast any shade. Like
Do it, bro.
I've been part of some of these like, hype trains before, but it's like, there's like the promoters turned like PP salesmen turned like crypto token launchers turned like Web3 NFT project guys. And like, they're not serious. They're there to make a quick buck. They use their network. They like come, they're loud. They're like all over the place. They have marketing skills, but it doesn't help the space in the long term. And, some of them made money. Great. Some of them are my friends, even better, but like,
we never did that, eh? We never did it,
bro.
We were close.
You probably
though.
thought of it.
We thought about it for sure.
We thought about a project, a coin, something for so long, but ultimately we knew that we know fuck all about the space, and unless we were going to bring someone in who could help us, it's actually in the long term going to just fuck up our brand.
Listen, there's 2 ways to look at it. Like it's also opportunistic. Like some people came in and then they abandoned ship. Other people like stuck it out and they see the long-term value in the space and they're trying to actually promote the ecosystem. Not everything's a win. Like I've tried a ton of stuff in my career. Like to get to where I am with my businesses, we've tested and tried all sorts of things. We tried to build a white label NFT marketplace. We tried to build like a few different Web3 companies. We've worked on iterations, but you gotta spend money. You gotta lose sometimes to get to the next level. Always. I have more failures than most people out there. That's what's allowed me to be successful.
Yeah, no.
And it doesn't hurt any less when it's money that you're losing. I'll tell you right now.
Dude.
When it's money that's the loss, you learn real quick.
Yeah. We've had some bad days, but
Okay, so we're continuing the story here. So, when do you first of all, do you have a team around you when you're doing this, when you start?
Yeah, so I started really with one partner.
Okay.
Our goal was to just like get up and running as quickly as possible. We, I was telling you guys earlier, like our first office was some like 300 square foot dingy spot.
I love that. I love those stories though. I love that.
Yeah, it was really
That's
like,
amazing.
take that like Bezos Amazon picture.
Yep.
Like we really lived that. We had, we were right between like a hairdresser and like an abandoned like, old antique clothing store that, no one would ever buy or wear.
Yeah. But at that point,
Smelled
you're
like
making money.
trash.
You're making money at that point.
We were
Enough to
we were
get the
starting
office.
It was like $1,000 a month. It
There
was
you
nothing.
go.
It was just we wanted a spot.
Okay.
Painted the walls like with whiteboard paint. That was our most expensive like expense at
Yo,
the time.
we did
we
that
did the
tape
same
upstairs.
thing.
Yeah.
Started to like put these deals on the board, like these multi-million-dollar deals, like that we were working on the side. It was really like out of a movie. It's great. We have some good pictures from back in the day. So I was with my partner David, who was warmly introduced from a close business connection, and from there, it was organic, like pretty cool. But our first hire was our first intern was a kid I knew from university. He was pursuing dental school at the time. He was going to be a dentist. And he'd like known about crypto. We talked about it back in the day because there wasn't a lot of people to communicate with.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what? Like come work with me. Like this is pretty exciting. Like there's some cool stuff happening. And he's like, like I'm studying for my dental exam, but like I'm like, come by the office one day. He's like, all right, like let me work with you for 2 months. He, as our first employee, 3 years after the fact, we ended up making him like granting him co-founder status because that stuff's important to me. Like he really was there since, even though it was only 3 months in, he was there from, ground floor, built up the business, like took things under his wing, like wouldn't be here without him. So, putting that back, like I've learned from poor experiences in my past with poor leaders that like, I believe in taking care of the people around you. Like you're a family at the end of the day, your business. So
If you want someone to treat the business like it's their own, you gotta make it that way. Like you
skin in the game.
Skin in the game.
Exactly.
You won it. They won it too. That's for sure.
Bro, everyone's the CEO of what they do, right?
Yeah.
It's like you're the CEO of marketing, you're the CEO of content. You're like, how can you make this better? And what I've learned over time is to hire, active people, not reactive people. They serve a place, like people who can like build operationally, but I want people that are better in the certain department that can master their niche and like build things forward. Because we're going so fast. Like we're scaling. Like we're all over the world. We have 15 different departments. Like you need someone who really can like master where you want to go with the finance, with the marketing, with the sales, with legal, with credit, with different products. Like a certain point, most of the people in my team are way more qualified than I am at doing the different tasks.
That's the big point.
Ego aside, though.
You got to put your ego aside, and you got to exactly bring people on the team who know more than you about whatever it is that they're being brought on for.
You and your partner were doing. He was doing the development. You're saying.
No, we had no one technical for the first little bit.
Okay.
He was the CEO, I was the COO, and in most, it's funny because in all other business environments I would be in, I would be the guy who was like the CEO and sales oriented, but he was just like a master. He's he's 15 years older than me, had a lot more experience than I was. I learned a lot being like 10,000 hours in the office next to him. He's just like,
learned a lot from him. Yeah.
So I guess you were doing some sales at the same time.
Yeah,
Like
you
were doing.
it was us.
I mean, I'm just asking because it was probably like,
to be honest,
even that year or those years was still, it's a hard sell because no one knew about, like people still don't know about that space.
Listen, I embraced fake it till you make it.
Did you do it?
Like,
Okay, I love it.
100%.
I love it.
I would sell stuff before I knew how to do it. I'd hear a word on a call at like 11 a.m. or like a phrase and I'd be like, oh, like that sounds good. I'm going to use that at my call at 12 p.m. And I'd like say some shit that like, made us sound more credible or better. And then I'd be like, I'd be like, yeah, we have everything ready, blah, blah, blah. I just like used buzzwords and I'm like, okay, we have an opportunity. We got to figure it out.
So like
That's amazing, dude.
you're making these calls, but in that moment, how are you even finding these potential clients and like what does that sales call even like sound like? You know what I'm trying to say? Like
Established credibility. We built a network of brokers. People would start to look for us. It was like a WhatsApp shit show. There was like everyone. If you guys have ever been involved in like over the counter markets, there's a lot of like nonsense fake deals floated around all the time where people are just trying to make a quick buck. So that's what it was. It was like, I have a deal. I'm going to shop it to everyone I know because there wasn't like established channels. It was like, I'm going to ping people I know who are well connected. Yo, do you know someone who buys crypto? Yo, do you know someone who buys crypto? Yeah, maybe. Let me contact my guy here. And you'd like end up being on a call with 8 people. None of them are connected to the buyer or seller. And like everyone's trying to negotiate like commissions and referrals.
That sounds like
for
PPE
themselves.
to me, no?
Same,
Yeah, I was
same,
gonna say
same
same
deal
game.
early crypto.
Yeah.
Then you build relationships.
Yeah,
You figure out
yeah.
who's legit. You sift through like, this guy's, you know, an idiot. This guy actually knows what he's doing.
Was there
Yeah,
any
okay.
was there any like big L's that you took earlier on?
Just wasted time, but I think it's all, you know, come full circle. Like, you know,
It's a lesson.
Like you might have to talk to 100, I guess, like joker brokers, that's what we call them, before you find like one diamond in the rough. But like some of the people that I make the most money with today are guys that I met 5 years ago through some of those like ridiculous chains and
crazy
you meet
chats
like
and
5 to 20 good people. That's, you know, that's all
Yeah,
you need
and
to
you
build
stick
like
with
a solid
them.
network. Yeah,
And at
grow
that
together.
point, like how are you staying educated in the space? Obviously, you're in it every day, but I mean, it's a space that changes a lot, and a lot of new things are coming still new, right? So how did you stay on
sleepless
top?
nights.
Well, fuck, I assume so.
Yeah. I had to quit trading at some point. Like because I was doing all this while trading, trying to build the business, and like, you know, crypto markets don't stop, and these were still big swings. Like I was making really good money just like trading the crypto on the side. So, you know, I was in like communities, like Slack channels, Discord chats, Telegram chats, like also just news and media, and it was still pretty inefficient. Like you could gauge how the market would react. Like even in like 2018, after doing this for a couple years, would be like, oh, it's payday in the US. That means that like, you know, money's going to come into Coinbase because crypto's hot here and the price of Bitcoin is going to go up on like every second Friday of the month. There was like easy to play.
Like that's how easy you can read it at that time.
Yeah, or
That's
like this
crazy.
exchange listing. And it was inefficient. So people were like, you know, hacking into servers, looking at code bases, what token's about to be listed here. I mean, it was like the Wild West. It was, yeah.
And then just being in fucking Discords and shit like that, where you could just get that early information.
Yeah.
Damn,
Just,
that's crazy.
when you talk about crypto like years ago,
I haven't gone
it just
back this far in a long time.
it just
in a
trips me
combo,
out,
yeah.
you know, because like there's still so many people to this day that still don't know about that industry or don't know enough about it to get into it, you know? Like I think now that we're in 2023 now, I think there's a lot of ways that people can get
Totally
educated.
different. Yeah, everything I'm talking about is a lot long in the
Like
past.
if someone wanted to get educated right now, like what would you recommend to them?
I think that it's a lot more mainstream, like, you know, educational access just at your fingertips. Like there's credible websites, there's educational guides, there's content guides. I think you got to understand in the core of blockchain and Bitcoin to really like, or Ethereum to really dive deeper. And, you know, I'll give you an example. Like you guys use the internet how often?
every
second.
fucking 2
Every day.
seconds, yeah.
Statistically, people use the internet about 50% of their day, right?
Which is fun.
Can you guys describe to me how the internet works?
Great question.
www. dot.
Yeah, there you go. So like the protocols and infrastructure that underlie the internet are technically complex, but we're able to use it and we trust it because it's been around a long time. It's mainstream adoption. You don't really care. There's also no reason for you to like. Blockchain is as a technology technically complex. The only reason people started to like immerse themselves and learn is because you could actually invest in the infrastructure.
Facts, yeah.
So that was like the difference, but it's still not meant to be like, you know, really digested in layman's terms by the majority of the population. So
That's fair.
It's like you can be selective of what you want to learn
Yeah.
and just understand the apps and the tooling and like take things for granted. It depends how deep
It's
you
just
want to go.
it's legitimized enough where you could just like trust it. Just say, okay, this is the. I mean, fuck
depends who you
FTX.
ask, but I want to. I'm
You know?
curious. I'm curious what your thoughts are on Web3, and more specifically the metaverse.
I interrupt this podcast for a very important announcement. We are here to talk about the world's #1 seltzer, hard seltzer, Happy Dad, all right? For all my Americans out there, you can have it too, okay? We got it in California, New York, Texas, Florida, fucking everywhere, okay? So go to happydad.com/find, put your little zip code in there, and it's gonna show you all the stores that have it, all of them, whether they're nearby, close by, far, whatever you decide. They got gas stations, everybody's got them. Okay, so put your zip code in, go get some Happy Dad, and let's get back to the fucking show.
I've been thinking about the metaverse for a long time. My partner and I, like, during the course of all of these, like these two core businesses that we were doing back in 2018, we started actually one of the world's first metaverse startups, Metaverse Group, which was pretty cool. So we started to look at like NFTs through CryptoKitties and, you know, what was happening, EtherRocks, and like as an interesting concept. And we kind of divided it in two. We looked at like collectibles back then, at least collectibles, and then like metaverse real estate. And we thought that this like virtual land grab, which did have its rise, we thought that was like a vertical we wanted to bet on. So we started the world's first like virtual real estate company. We were one of the first guys to brand and market it. Like to this day, we own like every metaverse domain, metaverse group, metaverse capital, metaverse ventures. Like it's
just Google it, you guys just start popping up everywhere.
Yeah, we're number one on Google.
Interesting. Okay.
And we hold one of the largest portfolios of metaverse land in the world still. We were, if you guys remember at a certain point, there was like a $2 million land purchase.
Yeah.
That was us that did that. We sold land to celebrities. We
Oh,
helped
fuck.
like broker transactions.
Okay.
We also hosted the Fashion Week, Metaverse Fashion Week. So it's been, you know,
Hold on. Okay, what does that entail? Hold on, I gotta understand. So you buy. So you were the fucking lunatics that bought the
$2 million.
Yeah. Okay. And then what the fuck do you do with it? Like, what?
First of all, how does even the
Yeah.
purchase happen? I need
Yeah,
to know
yeah,
that
that's
too.
it.
Like, how does that go
So,
down?
okay, this is one specific niche of the metaverse. This is like metaverse land, which, you know, is virtual real estate. Metaverse as a term is kind of all encompassing. Like to me, I'll say that metaverse includes, you know, like games, Web3 connectivity, haptics, like VR, AR. Haptics is like, you know, like actual hardware, the actual goggles, like it's the game designs. It's really like all encompassing and how it's used as a term today. It's really like the future immersive, you know, place where we,
Experience.
you know, live, play, work, etc. This like metaverse in the real estate context was just, you know, one niche we wanted to double down on. So there's kind of like different worlds that were created. The primary ones were Decentraland and Sandbox that, you know, had the most notoriety. And those plots of land were being sold. They're, you know, on the blockchain, they're marked by an NFT for your ownership. You can then develop on that. So we built like basically like a real estate investment trust, like a REIT framework where we would buy land, we would lease it. We have, you know, Fortune 500 tenants. So we just, how can we earn revenue and show a use case? Like let's say the example, we bought the $2 million plot of land. There's a marketplace. You just, you know, you can go online and buy it like OpenSea or privately. Our business can help if you want to look private.
Like for a parcel or something? Okay, cool.
Correct. We built like, we ended up buying like a metaverse real estate development company, Metaverse Architects, which is it's cool to say. Yeah, it's
It's
cool to say.
insane. It's fucking unreal.
When this was happening, this was really like out of all the things I did in crypto, that I'm like, what am I doing?
Insane, right?
I'm like, did I really just host like a fashion week in the metaverse with like 600,000 people? Like what?
Yeah. Okay. Hold on.
It's a
You
game
say
changer,
you
dude.
say you have Fortune 500 tenants.
Yeah.
Like, okay. How? Who? How?
So
when?
we went after fashion brands like there was Forever 21, Tommy Hilfiger, Etro, like people that participated. There's 30 fashion brands that participated in Fashion Week in the metaverse. And our goal in putting this on with Decentraland, with some other partners, was to showcase the like utility of the metaverse. So like an early stage, you know, there was we also hosted some concerts. Like we built a stage. We did, you know, a show with like Dylan Francis and Steve Aoki. We had Blau. We had
That's crazy.
a bunch of DJs DJing
Guys
in the
did Veld.
metaverse.
They did Veld in the
literally.
metaverse. Fuck.
Just it was too early. Like we just wanted to show some use cases. We had a whole like party in New York during NFT NYC. Our partners did, and then we streamed it on our land. Like we were having fun with it.
Yeah.
Facebook blew things up a little bit with their Meta announcement.
Meta.
Yeah.
Made it exciting. And then, you know, now it's quieted down, but we still have like a big trajectory for helping clients like build casinos in the metaverse, buy land, build experiences, like work on.
So you don't think it's dead? You think that that's like just an avenue, that an arm that hasn't reached its full potential yet?
I'm a big proponent of like the metaverse being $1 trillion market opportunity. Yeah. Like, again, I think that conferences, school, work environments, like customer service, like, you know, the ability to like showcase tour properties, play games, like it'll all be in an immersive environment. What metaverse that is, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like website traffic, like people will go
So where you have this $2 million piece or parcel.
Yeah.
And it's just, what is it? Just a massive parcel? Is that why it's 2 mil?
We bought the fashion district, and that's what we're doing.
Oh,
so
it's-
we have
oh,
like,
okay, okay.
wish I could show you guys a video. We have like,
That's what I was gonna ask. Like, where's this? What area is it in
fashion
that?
district?
Okay,
So
okay.
we thought like, fashion and gaming would be, and like gaming, like gambling, gaming would be like the two biggest
ones.
categories. We want to focus on fashion.
That's so sick.
Yeah.
That's
Crazy,
insane.
bro. So and then so I guess you're leasing it out, and then this person has access to that land for a certain amount of time.
Monthly, yeah. We basically just
That's fucking unreal.
but like we just like set the price. We're like, yeah, it's.
I was gonna
X
say, there's
percent
nothing
of
to
the-
go off
X
of.
percent of the retail value of
Yeah.
the land per month is what we're gonna do. We'll do a 6-month contract, 3-month contract. We'll build you a boutique. This is the price for the design hours. You can showcase, market, sell clothes, and most people got ROI because the first people to do it were the ones that got the biggest like media splash, like millions of views.
Yeah. You said you sold to some celebrities.
Yeah, I did a deal to take off. We sold him some land in Sandbox. We did. I sold. It wasn't land, but I helped basically do the Wu-Tang Clan. If you guys know their lost album.
Oh no.
Yes. Yeah.
So they had like their 7th album that was.
It never came out.
That never came out, and they sold it at auction to this guy Martin Shkreli.
Yeah.
He was like the pharmaceutical bad boy.
Yeah.
He had like a super notorious history. He was like marking up like necessary drugs,
Like 3 trillion
like
percent.
thousands of dollars that were like I believe it was AIDS drugs or something, diabetes drugs.
There's diabetes drugs.
Diabetes drugs.
Yeah.
And yeah, he had a super bad rep. He bought this and he, was like, I'm never letting anyone listen to it. It's kind of the original, like the first NFT sale, but in a real context where it was like, I'm the one that owns this. People know it and no one's ever going to hear it or see it. When he went to jail, he got indicted. The DOJ seized the album as an asset that was worth a few $1 million.
That's crazy.
I got contacted by basically these guys that had access to rebuy this at auction from the DOJ. Because like, what do we do with this album?
Of course.
So I helped basically structure, broker, turn into an NFT, and we worked with a couple partners. I was like a little bit behind the scenes on it for the majority of the transactions, just super sensitive.
Yeah.
But yeah, helped basically facilitate everything. Ended up, it was covered in like the New York Times and a few like cool places. But yeah, that was a cool deal to be a part of.
That's
for sure.
sick.
I want to speak a little bit to just like what's currently going on with crypto. I mean, obviously we're in the bear market, whatever. I don't want to go too deep into that. I want to go more into just like a couple things that have happened. I mean, FTX is the obvious standout thing because it's still going on.
Yeah.
Maybe for someone who doesn't necessarily understand what's going on, what's like a quick way to explain kind of what happened, and then maybe just then your take on it.
Yeah.
I know that's hard to say.
No, it's fine. Basically, I think that people need to differentiate first to understand that the decentralized nature of digital assets and cryptocurrencies, and then centralized players. So you don't necessarily need guys like FTX to operate within the ecosystem, but like any market or any like people like, ease. So FTX is an exchange that helped build, an interface and experience that allowed people to buy and sell crypto in an easy way. Not so different than we do for institutions, but they did it in a retail way. They had a massive brand. They had celebrity influencers, Steph Curry, Tom Brady. They were like a very big, pivotal part of the ecosystem for onboarding and bringing in retail users. I've never been a proponent of exchanges, but they had, several million customers. They had billions of dollars of assets on deposit. There was basically two sides of the business. We were talking about BitMEX earlier, like that's how Alameda kind of got its rise through trading.
Yeah.
There was like the family office hedge fund trading arm of what SBF was doing. And then there's FTX, which was the exchange. One was his personal assets and the other one, contained client assets. At a certain point in time, during another kind of crypto collapse of 3 Arrows Capital, another multi-billion-dollar hedge fund that over leveraged and lost funds through stable coins. It's hard to go over this quickly. Without diving into definitions. They lost money, and basically at that point in time, like whether it was intentional earlier on, speculative, I don't know. I have my theories. I won't go into them, but they basically were presented an opportunity where it was either let their Alameda research fail, because it seems they blew up because their positions were underwater, but instead they actually borrowed against FTT that they were holding, which was the token of FTX, to bring money that was customers' money into Alameda to keep them afloat. So they combined two businesses in a fraudulent way, took money off the platform to try and save their ass.
On the other side.
Ended up being exposed, came to light in the media through their balance sheet, through people mentioning it like CZ and Binance, and that kind of caused things to implode is kind of the simple way to put it.
So correct me if I'm wrong. There's Alameda, the like trading, the arbitrage trading that he's doing and all that stuff, which is like Sam's personal assets.
Investments, trading.
Exactly. Other side of it is FTX, the brokerage. People are just buying and selling crypto on there.
Which was a healthy operating
it was doing its own thing. Yeah, everything was going well there. He fucked up on the personal side, over leveraged. So then he basically borrowed money against
FTX coin.
He borrowed money against investors' money,
which was a large part of the treasury of what they were sitting on, and then basically used basically a loan that wouldn't have passed any proper risk analysis. He gave to himself.
He took a loan from his own business to his personal. Essentially. Like I'm just trying to make it easy for someone to understand. He took a loan. He essentially took a loan from FTX to keep his personal shit afloat.
Correct. Instead of taking a 10 bill L, he risked everything. He figured he could make it back. He thought the market cycle would change. Thought he'd have opportunities because they've been ahead of the curb. Like they're so close to everything. They've been able to
They have all the insider information, all this shit.
They have the widest network and net, and they've had a ton of success in all their investments.
So then that came to light in the media, and people ran for the exit, essentially.
These tokens are a little bit like a belief system, right? All currency is in a way.
It is, yeah.
And, as soon as what happened came to light, people realized there was potential for insolvency. You don't want to be caught holding the bag. Everyone runs for the doors. Then it starts the chain reaction, which causes, every asset. And they were so pivotal to the ecosystem. There was hundreds of projects they were invested in. There was big ones that had smaller projects like Solana built on top of it that, really we saw everything from token contagion to, the price of major cryptos falling, which tanked NFTs, talking to treasury management, projects that had raised 2-3 mil in their bank that didn't know what was happening, lost 2 mil overnight. Whatever, $1 million, crypto goes down. So now how do you expected you have 3 years of runway, now you have 3 months,
just to stay afloat.
So
but do you think that if I mean this would just be a complete, it's completely do you think if that doesn't make the news, that he takes this loan and it doesn't go public, do you believe that maybe there's a chance he actually pays back that loan and everything?
Well, I'm sure he doesn't want to be in the
same
position he's in now.
No, but I'm saying
it's gambling. It's a gamble. That's not gambler's fallacy, but it's the same thing that happened in a Ponzi scheme, right? Everyone kind of starts out with good intentions. Bernie Madoff had a very successful trading business.
I just watched his
stockbroker
Netflix
business.
thing,
And he probably had some years where he did amazing returns, but then he had a bad year, a bad month. He's worried about his reputation, so he tries to cover that up by telling you he still made money even though he lost money, hoping he's going to make it back. The market shifts. You can't always control. It's
I think also the everyday person is just worried about, can this happen to other markets, other exchanges? Is this something that they should be worried about moving forward, or is this a one-off?
Yeah. So listen, it's never a one-off.
Yeah.
It's a fast moving market. Things are also happening for the first time, right? We're not going to get everything right as an industry.
Yes, yeah, true.
regulation will help. They're clamping down. It'd be hard pressed. Like there's two sides of it. There's kind of like self-regulated organization mentality, which is now that like the public, Twitter, which has been like super instrumental in this whole unfolding in the crypto industry for like tried and true source of information. But Twitter people, different exchanges, they're holding each other accountable. Show me your reserves, show me your collateral, show me what you got. There's probably tons of traditional companies that are like, operating fraudulently. I mean, I won't go into the financial system. It's
but I was gonna say essentially this can happen to the US dollar.
Yeah. Listen,
it could. I said it could. It could. I'm not saying it is gonna happen, but I'm saying like in reality, the way that it went down is it could happen to any currency.
The basis was just someone borrowing because they over leveraged.
Assets in the bank.
Yeah.
The same way that you don't know, like your assets when they're held in a centralized exchange, you're given entitlement to it. But when those funds are in the case of some of these platforms, like Celsius is another company that went bankrupt. They did state that they're using their funds on the back end to earn yield. So, in markets, there's no such thing as risk-free yield. Someone's holding the risk. Even when you buy a government bond, the risk is sitting somewhere. Celsius was able to, in a very tightly managed risk capacity, earn yields at the beginning. Then they had so many people that wanted that 5, 6, 7, 8% interest return. They had to go to riskier and riskier external places. The thing with FTX is that they didn't actually effectively state, kind of like they weren't able to use and reappropriate customers' funds in the way they did. That's the fraudulent part.
That was the part, yeah.
But, in a way, again, those assets were controlled by someone else. You put them on another platform, that's you trusting them, which again, most people did. If you would have asked me, my general stance has always been don't trust centralized exchanges. I'm like, FTX is kind of too big to fail. Like, I would have
you would have thought
put
that.
some money
That's
on
what I'm
it.
saying.
Like, if I had to give my reason, I don't keep money on exchanges, but I would have, I wouldn't have advised someone against it. I'm like, if something happens, like you'll be fine. But
I think it's like important for people to understand that you made a very good point that like ultimately your money's in the bank, your money's on an exchange, your money's somewhere. It's not really
banks
your
are worse.
money.
Banks are way worse.
Banks are worse.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, like a common thing I think about is like pensions.
Yeah.
Like, dude, like the teacher's pension of Ontario or whatever, like they're taking your money, they're investing it in whatever they believe. You have no control what they're investing in. And then, bro, if they lose the money, they lose it, and a portion of your pension gets dumped. Listen, they're probably not as risky in their investments, I would imagine.
It's interesting. It's all of these big, like from having lived outside of the whole financial ecosystem, and like the banking world, I used to think of banks as these like big, sophisticated, scary machines. Pensions as these like really, integrated, experienced, like, organizations. A lot of these like things have a lot of points of failure because they come down to people. So yes, you could have the tightest team in a pension fund, but then you have one guy who wants to hit his bonus one year and he didn't deploy all of the capital. So he just signs a check to something without looking at it twice. And that project goes bust because he's like, I have to deploy 100 mil, like 5 mil. Like, it can come down to like something just as simple human as and mundane as that. Or like, I have a budget to allocate into, a charity initiative and whatever. There's a variety of different components that come down to it. They're primarily well-managed, scalable. There is oversight. There's corporate governance, especially, in Canada, we have some of the biggest pensions in the world and they are sophisticated organizations, but, it's...
Anyone can lose though. That's the reality
anyone
of it.
Can lose
Anybody
always.
can lose. Yeah. I think that's the big piece of it. And then speaking of anyone can lose, right now there's a huge loser.
Who?
There's a huge loser right now. We're gonna talk about
Which one?
Logan Paul.
Oh.
I'm not saying he's a loser at like that. I mean, like he's a loser in the sense of like
He lost.
He's in a
He lost
sticky
his battle,
situation.
yeah.
He's had a really weird last couple of weeks. He went out. He got into like a shitty conversation about religion on his podcast with his co-host George, and then that put him on a bad trajectory to the public. And then more recently, his fucking dino animal crypto thing. Cryptozoo. Dino. I don't know why I said dino. You know what I mean?
There's
though.
so many. That's probably
Yeah,
one. That's
I don't
probably
even
one,
know,
though.
dude. I'm fucking
That one's
all
out
over
there.
this.
Dino.
Yeah, that one's out
Yeah.
there somewhere.
So Cryptozoo more recently, he's been taking like a ton. Dean's just laughing. He's like, "You're such an idiot."
I'm laughing because I almost did a Dino NFT project, bro.
There you go.
So there you
It
go.
sounded like something I
there
heard
you go.
before.
But more recently,
Yeah, I
he's
think I
been
was pitched Dino Dicks at one
There you
point.
go. You pitched it to him.
No, it wasn't him this time, but
so he's taken a huge L in many different ways, but very specifically that project. So I want to hear your take on that project. I don't know how much knowledge you have on that specific project, but then just on the space as a whole as well.
With
Yeah.
influencers
Yeah,
involved
yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah,
like
but
that.
I want to know specifically with the Logan Paul thing. What's your like take on it?
I haven't followed it like, to the T, so I'll give general thoughts that I
Sure.
can talk to. He started a project a year plus ago around the time, which was, interesting. Again, what we were talking about, space was emerging. Everyone's looking for an opportunity to make money in Web3. He has, a prevalent brand. He started to, in his defense, he was one of the first guys that was serious about like, Pokemon cards and collectibles and like.
That's true.
He
That's
did. He wasn't like someone that just like appeared out of nowhere. Like, some like there was a bunch of rappers, there was a bunch of like Web3 influencers, there was a bunch of OnlyFans girls that just like came in. How can I like leverage my audience to, make a quick buck? Where I never had any belief that those people would ever turn a real project around because I know what it takes.
Yeah.
It was just kind of true to the times. Like people were, and again, a lot of influencers, YouTubers, people that got involved weren't necessarily like at the helm of it. It was their management. In a lot of cases, they were just leveraging their audience. In the case of Logan Paul's project, to my understanding, they, kicked it off. They're working with some external developers. There was a dispute that happened in the back end that basically he was leveraging his position, refusing to pay them. The project basically never ended up being launched. The developers held the code because they hadn't been paid. And then, Logan really never, and his team, I can't say for sure like who's, the orchestrating force here, took in a lot of money, made a lot of promises, never really acted good on those. I think they kind of hid their head in the sand, so to speak, which is a bad, just like they weren't the only ones. There's a lot of people that did that and that did hurt our industry a lot. For sure. But, being one of the bigger influencers in the world, you kind of have, in my view, a responsibility in any case to always try and make right. There was lack of communication. There wasn't a lot of like, there wasn't good ethics to support what happened. Whoever was largely responsible, it's he said, she said, and it sounds like his team made some poor decisions around how to manage it and go forward, and their excuses sound like bullshit to me. Like, but
I was gonna say,
They
you've seen
gotta
the
say 'em,
video.
though.
You've
They
seen the
gotta say
video.
excuses.
You've seen the video of him shitting on developers and this and that. This guy's a criminal. I'm like, but you hired him, no? Like, you know what I mean?
and
Deflecting.
I'll say that I know some of the actors involved there. Some of it was definitely like false and enhanced, and yeah. So
Yeah.
it's just it's a deflection tactic. But again, who better? He's been in the media for controversial shit
He loves it.
20 times. He knows how to. Oh, but I over there.
Yeah,
Like,
just juggle it around.
And so, yeah, I mean, I see that. I just think like the way I see it is, project, no project, didn't pay this person, whatever. Like when you're that big and you're getting involved with a business that is
it's
essentially,
childish, bro. It's childish.
Yeah,
it's like you're acting like a little kid. Like
exactly.
man up. Even SBF to all the terrible decisions he made, and very much so not a fan of everything he did. The guy was, I'm sorry, I messed up.
I fucked up.
I'm the CEO. I fucked up. It's my responsibility.
Yeah.
Here's who I wronged. Didn't throw people under the bus. Aside from he pled not guilty recently and whatever. That's
Well, I'm sure that's
more
legal
That's
stuff.
legal
Yeah.
shit. There never seemed to be any of that in this case for Logan, which you expect better. You're a role model. Just own up to it, fix it. Like, just the way you should be.
Yeah, and move on. Yeah, I think there's that. I think, I totally agree with you on that. I just think that if you're that big, you've made that much money, and this whole project / business is built off
And
your
he does
brand.
say he cares about the space. Like,
But that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
he said all the things he said, which
I
like
think
you
he
said.
did mention I'm gonna bring it back, and but like we'll see. Like,
Yeah, but then Coffeezilla did the whole thing, which exposed him. I don't know if you're familiar with Coffeezilla. So he's the one that did this whole investigation, exposed him, whatever. And yeah, he just kind of like was deflecting. And again, like it's your brand. So if it's your business, you're backing it. Like, yeah, you got
But
to
you know
take
what's
the
fucked
L.
too? Like the world we live in, like people will forget in 6 months.
Ah,
He's gonna sell something else. They're gonna buy it.
on that. They rely on that. Unfortunately,
You don't
but
think so?
Yeah, look, I think he posted he sold out his energy drink like the next day.
There you go.
You know,
He's already looking for it.
The thing is like you feel bad because you see all these people that invested. Like
Yeah, of course, but they have to also be smarter too with what they're doing. I believe that as well.
the thing is like he said, Logan
but he's
was
a role model.
I
and
know.
these
Was
are
I
young
know.
fans.
Everybody
and
that
the way
invested-
he
Well, maybe
designed the
change your role
game is a
model
little
then,
bit- is about eggs and
the way
Maybe
these
get a
people-
new role model though.
Okay, wow,
Just
that's
because he opens a deck of Pokemon cards doesn't mean he's gonna actually. I think the most important thing about an NFT project is that it goes live. No.
Well, the first thing is that it's got to go live. That's for sure. I'm curious. Do you know anything about Metacard? Full Send's Metacard?
a little bit when I first came out, and they had a concert, and
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Yeah,
Feel
yeah.
free to
No. I was gonna just ask you like what your thoughts on it.
Yeah.
If you have any, if you know the the project,
I heard about it when it came out, but I never dove
dove deep into it. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
But I think they made well on their stuff. Like they
Well,
they,
they're-
like, hosted some events.
they're
and
still
they had a-
going.
They
They're still going.
They're
They're
still
still
going
going
hard.
hard.
community, yeah,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
important, right? Keep
Well, they have multiple brands that they can connect everyone to, right? So that
Yeah.
something like the Metacard works for them. I think they're one of the only ones that are still going.
They're one of the only ones that has a full team still operating to like do good on what they've said they were gonna do. Now
Listen,
maybe
some people are, but as they should.
Yeah.
Like
Well, they actually care about their fan base. That's something else too. That's
look how strong their fan base is.
There you
They're
go, it
all
makes
over
sense.
The place. They,
but that's because they
support
actually
them,
take care of them.
I wanted to ask you something though. If you were to start, let's say, your own project today,
Yeah.
okay? Let's say you maybe didn't even have that much money to do it. What would you be looking to do, or what would you be looking to start? And what's the first things you're looking at? Like, what are the first hit points? You're like, these are the things that it has to be.
I mean, the way I look at my business and my place in the space is I help accelerate companies all the time.
Yes.
So I'm like, my art is helping take businesses 0 to 1. Like
Yeah.
I've done it a lot, and that includes how I assist with clients and friends' projects and the stuff I get involved in. I think again, you need commitment, you need a strong team, you need experience, you need understanding and expertise. Like it's really the tenements of like what makes a successful business.
Yeah.
There's a lot now that can be built in this space. I mean, there's so many different subsets and verticals. There's decentralized finance applications, there's Web3 and Metaverse applications, there's gaming applications. We spoke about a whole different slew of these verticals. There's financial services subsets. So I just think it's that. It's like you need to have a strong leader who's committed, who's building the team, support the weaknesses, and
Is there a way to go about a stronger project than another?
utility,
like
I would say.
utility.
It's always a
Play to
utility.
earn.
That's
Web3, you need utility.
Okay.
100%.
You heard him. Make sure that shit's got
I
utility.
think we got to get you a fucking meeting with John or something, just so you can fucking help push and propel the project a little further.
Gladly, yeah.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of good fucking chemistry we could put together there.
I've done
Now
that
we-
with a bunch of guys, and over the last little bit, like people who want to restructure and
Yeah.
take like, hey, we built an audience, we built commitment. I was an investor in a really cool brand called Pudgy Penguins. So
sick.
they were one of the the early on top digital top NFT projects.
Yeah.
They were being managed by some younger guys. They were smart but a little inexperienced. Was approached by kind of the founder of the team, this guy Luca Netz. He came in, wanted to.
Damn, I just got connected with that guy.
I was gonna say, sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Luca Netz.
he's great. He's like basically had this idea to turn around Pudgy, buy it off, the previous owners, and build this like world leading IP and brand, rival Yuga Labs, get global distribution, and we've the team has worked incredibly hard. raising capital, like building IP, building brand distribution partnerships, building utility. And it's been, now it's one of the top traded volumes. We passed Clonex, we passed Moonbirds, like some of the other
Big
massive
boys,
projects in terms of like trading volume, floor price, etc.
So should Logan Paul just call you right now? Like, does he need you to help him?
No
Can you get him out of this or not?
interest in being involved.
You can't get him out of this one,
This
or
guy's
what?
like, nah, I'm not doing it.
We're gonna talk.
Listen, fortunately, when you get to a certain stage in life,
Yeah.
When you first start your business, you have to work with everyone. Like money's important. You get to a certain stage in life,
get
like
picky.
I don't want to work with you. Fuck you. You know,
Yeah,
it's just,
yeah.
you
I'm not
can
even trying to
picky.
be
Yeah,
connected
no.
to that.
We spoke a bit off before, like about your health and you as an entrepreneur and you taking that more serious as well. So maybe talk to us about that. I saw the schedule you posted on your story. I was
Yeah.
fucking intimidated by it, but I screenshot it and I'm like, bro, this is something that, I mean, if you do that every day, like you're gonna become
A monster.
God level. So talk to me about your, like, just you going through that journey, I guess, finding yourself and saying like, fuck, like, damn, I gotta take care of my health a bit more too.
Yeah, I think this is one of the most important like themes in my life right now. Focuses for 2023. Having that full, mind, body, soul, and in connectivity is the most important thing. If you look at any, any wealthy individual, billionaire, successful individual, what's the most important thing in their life? Health.
Yeah.
At a certain point.
True.
And you have to make sacrifices when you're building a company. Even back to my previous point about like who you work with, you don't always have a choice. You get stressed out. You need to it's like make or break.
Yeah.
But you get to a certain point when that changes, and I did. I had to work 18-hour days, 16-hour days, sleepless nights, late nights. Calls with China here, there, whatever it took.
Yeah.
And I had some hiccups. I had like shoulder surgery, and I let my health slide a little bit around that, and kind of just looked in the mirror one day, woke up, and I'm like, all right, like it's time to really change this around. I want to focus. Had a pretty like organic journey where I started to look at like wellness practices, getting into just like cold and heat exposure is what started it for me, for stress management, like cardiorespiratory kind of capacity, going to saunas, steam rooms a couple times a week, about an hour a week is like optimal, getting cold exposure. And when you start to do that, you build really like resilience, right? You're challenging yourself like anything. Hey, like you think it's this big, intimidating, people are scared to go into an ice bath. First 30 seconds feels like death. And then you realize, wait, I can overcome this. It's mind over matter. You get out, you feel amazing, you feel energized, you have a release of dopamine, like adrenaline, your parasympathetic nervous system, and you start to learn like, your fight or flight response, how to turn that into clean energy. And now I would say that like off foundational building blocks, I've built towards a practice of recentering my life, my social media feeds, my like circle around like biohacking and really like wellness practices. So the routine that you touched on now.
I'm gonna read it out, by the way. I'm gonna read it out. I have to. I have
Go
to.
for it. Really starts from like how to set off with the right intent in the morning, like little wins, building up that like resilience, focus, and you just crush the day. Like I'm better than ever. Like I've accomplished a lot, like, not in an arrogant way. I'm fortunate. I'm 27 years old and I've had a lot of career success, but compared to how I'm operating now, I was at like 40% efficiency. Like my energy is 50, 70% higher. Like my sleep is more restful. Like I'm like optimizing myself. And once you get a taste of that, it's like,
It's addicting.
you never want to go back. And the biggest thing that I've realized is how wrong mainstream media, traditional nutrition,
Yep.
and how much poison there is like out there in the world. Everything from like fluoride in tap water and heavy metals to like what is put in your food in the grocery stores and how bad that is for you. That when you truly get over the other side of it, like it's a whole different ballgame.
You realize there is a matrix out there, and
Totally,
now I'm
yeah.
out of it.
Yeah, you got to escape.
No, that wellness, like even like meditating and stuff like that, will definitely change the way that you change your perspective on life, to be honest, and your awareness. I was talking to him about the cold tub stuff because I went to Othership the other day for the first time, and I did the sauna cold plunge, and the first 30 seconds, man, I was looking at the guide. I was about to just like elbow her, and I was like, I can't do this. And then Kane was in there for. I did 2 minutes. They say 2 minutes, and then like you get all the benefits, right?
Yeah.
Kane was in there for 6 minutes, I think, just chilling. But
Yeah,
I was like,
mastered
it's one of those things. It's not so much even the benefits you get from it. It's the realization that, oh my God, I just did that.
It's both. Listen,
Yeah.
I do it every single day. I used to be groggy in the morning, brain fog. Like I was usually stimulated at night. If you would have asked me,
You're a
I'm
nighttime
night
guy?
person. I'm a night person always. Like I'm in the office 3 a.m., 4 a.m. And every morning I'd wake up, my brain's foggy. Getting into the cold exposure and just like building that skill set,
just like
it helps my breath work. Now every morning I'm like cold shower, I'm alert, I'm ready to go and focus by like 6:30 in the morning. You know, I got my game face on. I know what I want to do. Like my day's set. There's no wasted time. Like, you know, straight to it.
Yeah.
I gotta hear this. I
Ready
gotta
for
hear
this?
this schedule. Yeah, fuck me up right now.
Oh, 6 a.m. alarm. Okay. So you're up. No screen time for 1 hour.
Nice.
And we drink a glass of water. Keep it next to the bed.
There you go.
Red light therapy for 10 minutes plus meditate the goals for the day. Like this, the red light is something I want to try. Did you just buy them and you just have them at your place and you just,
It's mostly for winter. Like
Okay.
sunshine is.
that's what you need it for, right?
Is key. Obviously, I would go.
gray
into the
here. It's
sun,
gray
but
here at all
We're in a
times.
sock for 5 months. Unfortunately.
So, sorry, red light therapy, meditate the goals for the day and walk through the upcoming schedule in your mind, which I love that. You're just manifesting your own day. Make your bed, drink AG1, which I think is a supplement you take, and take morning sups. So far, so good. We get to 7 to 8 a.m. workout. And then you have the breakdown in the workouts, 5 days cardio, 4 days resistance. Cold shower for 1 to 3 minutes after that.
Huge.
Take your morning focus sups. And then 8:30 to 10, 2 at-home 45-minute windows for hardest tasks of the day. That's
Yeah,
it.
I think you could stop there. That's the most important.
Yo, that's
the most important.
like priorities right there,
Yeah.
right? And then like you go on, but like
That's
it's a really productive. I think 12 hours. Very productive.
A big part of it is, like you said, the most important tasks portion.
Yeah.
Is
Right away,
like
boom.
if you nail that shit right in the morning, like as soon as you've finished your kind of routine, then
Well,
you
you're
go
mentally,
right
like,
into it.
yeah,
it's all mental priming. Like
Yes.
this whole thing is to build like even the little things like make my bed. It's
No, but that's
it's
habit.
like building a habit. It's building a win that, you know, I accomplished something and like you build off the momentum, right? When you do a cold shower, you get out of the cold shower, you're ready to conquer the day. Like you don't go back to bed, you don't eat
No,
a
you
shit
can't.
meal.
You can't.
It's the same thing with working out in the morning. Like you smash a workout, you're gonna eat healthier, you're gonna be more alert, you're gonna be more focused, you're more present. You know, you're centered. Like if I can smash that, like basically until 10:30, I typically do it fasted. So I'm also focused. Like
You're flying at that point. Yeah.
I've done more by 10:30 than 98%
Yeah.
of the world does in their entire day. And
That gets you going. That's enough.
Everything after that is a bonus. Like if I want to,
Facts.
like, you know, focus on personal brand development, like creative pursuits, which is a big part of my like work in this year. It's all just, you know, extra from there. I've smashed what I need to. If you do one important thing every day, you're going to make progress. And something that gets asked of me a lot is like, and you even kind of prefaced on this, how did you build a business? Like, how did you get into knowing how to start this? It's complicated. It really is like step by step, right? Like if someone told me I had to build a house, I'm not an engineer, I'm not an architect, I don't really know anything about building a house. You know what I do? The first thing, I dig a hole.
Dig a hole, yeah.
Right? I start to lay a brick. Eventually, you step back, you have a wall. You know, then you have 4 walls, you have a foundation. Like,
Yeah.
you know, you never really know what you're going to set out to do, but you accomplish one important thing, you build progress, you build momentum. It's just like, then eventually you look back and you're like, well, shit, like this is actually, I can live in here.
Yeah.
Yeah. We always say that, like, like there's days where you're going to accomplish 20 important things, and there's days where you're going to even just get one. But as long as you just got one, like you've had a positive day. I think that's the thing people stress out about, because they're like, oh, I need to do 20 things today. And it's like, and then you spend so much time stressing on these 20 things, you get nothing done. They get nothing done, and then there's no progress. And now you've had a negative day rather than a positive one in terms of your growth, right? So yeah, I agree with you. But
that's it. It's daily progress.
Yeah.
Is leading to compounding results. Like anyone you look at, once you adopt a growth mentality as an individual, you're reinventing yourself every single day of your life.
Facts.
It's like you're a new person, right? I don't look back and see myself as the same person a year ago as I am today. I like principally stronger, better, more mature. Because I have a growth mindset, I'm going out there and I'm seeking growth opportunities. I'm seeking uncomfort. That's like really how to continue to like, also is fun, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
there's
absolutely.
challenges, stuff happens.
You also just got to start, like you said, if it was a house, dig a hole. That's the first thing. A lot of people don't even start.
Yeah, because I'm saying they're too worried about doing 20 things at the
Yeah,
beginning
yeah.
that like they don't even get one done, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's the big key. But damn, that's fucking
Yeah.
That's a
Our audience
that's a
probably going to have to
hectic-
Google half the words that you said, but it's okay.
We're good.
That
We're
means it's a good fucking pod.
getting them fucking learning. That's the point.
That's the point of this.
Wow. I mean, I'm
How
sure.
about Dean? You got any questions, bro?
I
This
was
guy's
just
got all
gonna-
the answers here.
I was gonna say, what do you think Logan's gonna be like in terms of legal trouble? You think he's gonna get in legal trouble for what he's done, or slander, or the other stuff? Obviously, the original
Listen,
issue.
the regulators could choose to go after scapegoats that aren't always, you know, like technically there's hundreds of influencers and actors that I think broke the law that could, you know, get sued,
Be in worse
indicted, go to
situations.
jail, whatever.
Yeah.
If they choose to make an example out of him, they very well can.
You think anybody's gonna sue him though, like for slander or anything in like civil court?
Yeah, you come at people, they typically come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
Especially, you know, you ruin reputations by the things you say.
Right.
Especially in a public format. It's like
The way he did.
doesn't
yeah.
need to be the way to do it. Like, you know, hey guys, I'm dealing with some stuff in the background. I'm sorry. Some things weren't under my control.
Oh, his ego-
I
his
did
ego came out,
whatever. You know, I dealt with some people. I'm dealing with them legally. Boom. Okay. You know, at least you're not like.
Yeah.
I could never picture him doing that.
Do you think?
He would never do
Very
that.
childish what
Yeah.
he did in the videos. It's
Absolutely.
very childish. Yeah.
Do you think? Sammy Boy,
Sammy
is gonna
Boy.
see prison or what?
Sammy Boy's going to see prison.
Yeah.
I mean, like.
We're going to see an FTX 2.0 or not?
We're gonna get the picture of him just behind bars with the
Oh, I'm
fucking.
getting that on a T-shirt. A big,
100%.
neighborhood style
There we
T-shirt,
go, you get
like,
one of those.
on the wall, yeah, massive. Listen, there are some powers that be that are in like
I've
implicated
heard.
and involved here, and there's some
heard
pretty
as well.
serious conspiracy theories. I have like some deep ones that have some like really interesting facts.
You can give it to us if you want. You can give us your theories.
I mean, listen, there's
Wasn't his mom like involved with the Democratic Party and donating
Dean,
to
relax,
Biden?
Dean. Relax,
Dean,
Dean.
take it easy, bro.
you're talking
I'm
too
trying
much
to get
truth
I'm trying to
here.
get your channel taken away,
That's
boy.
too real for us, bro.
I will say just in a public format, like a lot of these actors are like
Paid.
in my net. yeah. There you go. There's a lot of conspiracies out there. How money was siphoned, where it went, to who it went, the way things were treated. You know, guy said he was broke, $250 million bail. You obviously probably need like 10% of that. Comes from his family. Where was that siphoned? How were properties bought? You know, at the end of the day, like, you don't need to be a conspiracy theorist to really realize that, you know, there's 100 people that control the world.
Yep.
And, you know, some of those people are possibly implicated here in one way or another. So, you know, what happens to regular people? Like, what I will say is that the way mainstream media depicted the events of the FTX saga totally blew my mind. Like, I've always been a believer in like sourcing my own information, finding my own like, you know, credible information sources, doing research when I hear something. I've like, it's been a big part of my life and like my opinion set. Doesn't matter, every political conflict, every, you know, like general conflict. In this case, having known the actors, the details, intimately following things like closer than I've ever followed something because it impacted my business and life. What was depicted in mainstream media, in major publications, Wall Street Journal, Bloomberg, Fox, everyone, compared to what actually was going on behind the scenes, New York Times, like so many groups, was backwards, broken, not factual, you know, not backed up by data. And it was so clear who was paid, who was not. You know, there's spokespeople that were implicated that like have come out after the fact, you know, taking, I guess, money to speak positively about things that, you know, their opinions didn't make any sense at the time. And then you find out after they're paid. Like it's a convoluted story. You're dealing with billions of dollars. It's the largest financial fraud in history. It's one of the largest lost funds and, you know, bankruptcy cases in history. Wow. It's at a really relevant time with, fake news media, fake, just where like politics is in a bit of a state of disarray. So it's interesting.
You're making too much sense, bro. You're making too much sense over here.
I like how you call them actors. That part fucking kills me.
Well, they
There's
are,
a lot
dude.
of actors. I'm like,
There is, dude.
Like literally, everyone's a
And
fucking
they all getting
act-
paid. They all getting paid.
That's crazy.
Yep.
Fuck, man.
Yeah, it's hard to know who's really themselves. People forget who themselves are. I think Jim Carrey, I forget the exact quote, but he has something. He's like that, like the Jim Carrey that he was playing in real life, like became an actor at some point. He's like, I couldn't differentiate who I was between a movie character or my own,
Well, I think even going back to it and working on yourself and working on let's say your spirit or your inner self, you are more aware of
key.
what's going on around.
You have to take a step back.
100%.
You have to reflect. You have to be able to really distance yourself.
You'll
from
think twice about things.
hustle and bustle, the noise. Like, I think if there's one thing that money does, and like relevant to the name of this podcast, money buys happiness, money buys freedom. Money also helps you like align with your, true self and intent, because it lets you just be true to yourself in a lot of different ways. It has for me.
Yeah.
Like, accomplishing my financial goals at a young age, I really get to look at where do I want to focus my time and attention by removing money from the equation. What is my purpose, in the world? Where, I have all this time, like who do I want to spend it with? I don't need to impress. I don't need to hang out with you because I need your things, or I want to, kiss ass or suck up. Like it's allowed me to, and maybe that's also just part of the way the world shifted and COVID and my experience of it, but important.
Yeah, well, I don't have to ask you the question anymore because you pretty much answered it. But I agree. Like, obviously, when it comes to actors and then knowing who you are and all that stuff, money just emphasizes who you were before you had the money. So if you were a prick without money, you're just a bigger prick with more money. If you were a beauty who was super generous before you had money, you're just a bigger beauty with more money to be generous with. Yeah. That's the way I see it. I don't think people don't change. Yeah. They actually just accentuate even more of who they are, right? And in terms of being self-aware and stuff, we've talked about it all the time. People are that's one of the biggest issues today with just people in general, because I think social media has played a negative role in this, but people are not self-aware. They're not aware of anything almost.
No,
but especially that.
Don't
too,
even get me started.
But self-awareness is something that people are lacking. They're pretending to be somebody. They're just actors. We just got a bunch of fucking actors just running around.
But it's like awareness is being like, okay,
social media is the worst part of it because people are like, they accentuate, a version of themselves.
The good parts of themselves.
But sometimes they accentuate not even the good parts.
But if you have self-awareness and you have a conversation with someone and they tell you something that you're skeptical of, you'll be aware of that. Whereas like half the people on this earth right now are literally in their own bubble, and you tell them something and it goes in there and it comes out the other side.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't even go in
it
there. They're actually looking at their phone.
Yeah. No, 100%.
Damn, bro.
Dean, where we at, Dean?
We're hitting an hour and a half.
100 hours?
Yeah, 100 hours.
Nice. We're almost at 100 hours.
Feels like no.
Where can everyone find you? I'm sure people are going to have questions for you. So let them know. We'll drop the links, everything.
Yeah, I'd say Instagram is best for me personally. Zach D Friedman.
Yep.
At Zach D Friedman on Instagram.
We'll down low.
And on Twitter, Z Crypto Kid. Part of the New Year's resolution is going to be dropping more knowledge. I don't, I haven't been publishing. Part of the end of that routine there is, daily posts on LinkedIn and Twitter a little bit more. So yeah, feel free to reach out.
I'll catch you on Twitter, bro.
I'm
trying to tweet some more too.
Yeah, no,
trying to up the game. You know what?
You have
Instagram's been great. I think I've been able to, put out a lot of knowledge to people who look at that platform for something else. And that's why it's resonated with people. I get like some pretty amazing engagement now because I'll post about, again, like crypto conflicts, like summary of economic events every now and then. And, it's not always what people are on Instagram for, but I spend a little too much time looking at the wrong things. So.
Yeah, we all do, bro. I think we all do.
100%.
Congrats on the new office, by the way, as well. We're gonna come by. We gotta come by.
Yes.
Gotta get a couple segues for the boys.
Yeah.
But this guy's just flying around his office on a Segway, so that's the joke. Other than that,
yeah, no, dude, seriously, it's been an absolute pleasure. I've learned so much in this. I've learned more in this fucking hour and 30-minute convo than like the last 3 years of crypto. So thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, salute to that. Once again, appreciate it, bro. Congratulations on all your success.
Thanks,
and hopefully you get a fucking 100 more years of that type of success. And on that note,
yes.
if you guys made it this far, we love you. You know what to do. Like, subscribe, do the fucking duties. Let me know. Yo, Ant, whatever. DM me, send me a fucking message. Figure it out. Get to me. All right? And on that note, Dean.
We out.